Hey guys, it's Keith here, and here's a quick preview of what to expect in the upcoming video. We're gonna have a lot of explosive moment in this game, a lot of tactical smoke pushes, and definitely intense close-range infantry combat, and not to mention plenty, and I mean plenty, of ballistic missile strikes. It's gonna be a great one. I hope you enjoy it. So definitely something you should stay and watch. But a quick thank you to Greedy here for suggesting that I break down the deck. It's not gonna be much. I'm gonna make a more detailed video about the Mech VDV deck that I have in the future. But for now, here's the one that I'll be using today. Feel free to pause the game and try this deck out for yourself in the game. But more about this in the future video. For now, let's get back into the game. We're going to be fighting on Baltiysk Peninsula, and like I said earlier, we're going to be bringing in our Mech VDV deck here. I've been having a lot of fun with this Mech VDV deck, and I've also updated it a little bit more to better suit my tactics and strategies. So I figured I want to be bringing in the Mech VDV here and challenging the center, because I think the Mech VDV has a lot of infantry that is capable of helping each other out, covering a wide array of problems that we might be facing later today. So gonna be bringing a couple of KaMAz loaded with this infantry and quickly zooming to the center. Before that, we're gonna be bringing out an S-235 S here to engage the enemy aircrafts by completely whiffing that, not even landing a single missile in order to damage any of these aircrafts here. Up against double F-15EX Eagles here, my aircraft certainly stood no chance, especially when it's the single aircraft against these beasts of the skies here. Thankfully, teammate's gonna bring one down, while the green player here suffers a catastrophic defeat of its helicopters, and all of its infantry is gonna die in the crash as well. Nevertheless, we're gonna zoom very quickly into the center here with our KaMAz. Each one of these is loaded with the Igla as well as the Factoria ATGM. The Igla is going to cover the skies for me in case any enemy helicopters pushes in, as the ATGM is going to cover the ground for me in case any enemy fast-moving or tanks comes on the ground. The goal here is to really push in very quickly to cover the high reses here. If you notice in Baltiysk, the maps here are pretty asymmetrical, so it's not very well balanced. On the outside of the spawn here, we have access to mainly buildings, but a lot of open ground here, not very much cover in terms of forest here, and that's gonna be an important note in the later stages of the game, which it will be made clearly once we progress further into the game right now. The enemy side has access to these forests here, so it's going to be able to really effectively hide any of their supplies, their units, and generally offer concealment. Nevertheless, our units does make it first into the high rises here, and you can see we're coming up against the airborne cavalry that the Peach player has brought up. I suspect the enemy has the same intention given the types of units that he's been bringing out. So tow teams here, not very effective on close ranges, so ideally he was trying to secure the high rises before we managed to make it to our side here. So our units are going to be quickly engaging the enemy units right now. BMP-3 does clean out one of the tow teams here. I'm going to be really quickly shifting my units into these different skyscrapers as we already have the first sign of the enemy artillery now engaging our positions here. We're going to come up, Motostrelki is going to be engaging in a medium range battle against the Mech engineers. The Mech engineers is exceptionally tanky for an infantry unit, and it's going to have no problem engaging my Motostrelki from that distance. If the Mech infantry manages to storm the building my Motostrelki are in, Motostrelki is definitely going to lose that out and quickly eliminate it. But we're very careful right now, moving our units into positions. The BMP is in a perfect position to support our infantry here engaging the enemy. VDV Spetsnaz is going to move in and launch a couple of thermobaric launches, thermobaric rockets into the Mech engineers. And even with that, you can see the Mech engineers still at a very healthy stage here, able to really eliminate or punish my VDV Spetsnaz. BMP-3 is going to move in to engage the mech engineers as we continue to take constant artillery barrage on our positions here. I think in the beginning phase here we've managed to thwart the enemy's plan into taking these high rises with our speed, so now we have the element of well, the initiatives is on our side. We're going to be pushing in our BMP-3 to engage the enemy pack that we've just spotted. So the BMP-3 is going to quickly take that out, but not before switching targets and taking out the unfinished business of eliminating the mech engineers. With the enemy effectively pushed out of the sector here, we have started to capture the zone. I've also brought in fresh infantry to sort of stabilize the front, while simultaneously I'm going to be moving or picking up my wounded ones to a position where they can quickly repair, get rearmed and recharge so that they can be brought back into the fight. KaMAz that I brought in earlier is already busy ferrying supplies closer to the front. As earlier I've also brought up a Duplo once again to bring in a large supply dump so that my KaMAz can do the work of ferrying it to the front lines. This game my KaMAz is going to be working overtime. As again later on you're gonna see why exactly. So I'm not gonna be spoiling it that much, but it has been a very tricky game for me, this one, but certainly a very fun one, a very enjoyable one nonetheless. Just want to quickly say a big thank you to those who've been watching my videos. I really appreciate it, and if you like this kind of tactical gameplay, if you enjoy my commentary so far, do let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, and if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing. Once again, I hope you enjoy the game so far, but right now let's get back into the game. BMP-3 is going to be bringing in a Metis squad. Metis is going to be a useful one because the Metis have both the long-range cornet as well as the machine gun that's going to be able to cover my units here engaging the infantry. Cheeky Typhoon VDV is going to try to sneak into the forest here, but it's going to be bumping into one of the enemy Bradley or SHORAD, quickly eliminating it. KaMAz once again still busy ferrying supplies throughout the front, and it's generally a way I like to play the game. And if you've already seen my previous video, you know that bringing in supplies and having multiple sections where you can resupply your units is going to be crucial in this game. One thing to note about this map here is that there are no forests, so I am not able to really hide my supply dumps, meaning my supply dumps are extremely exposed to enemy drones or recon units, and then eventually they're gonna get spotted at the later stages of the game here. So right now I'm making sure that I have plenty of supplies. As you can see, I'm busy ferrying all my wounded units into the BMPs. My BMP is really acting as battle taxis here, bringing my units back and forth the front lines and making sure that all my infantry are well equipped with ammo to combat any enemy pushes here. We've already engaged the Peach player here, and we now spot the first signs of the enemy airborne NGWS teams. Now the airborne is a very dangerous threat to my infantry. With its weapon systems, it's definitely going to take on any single of my units here. So we're going to have to be smart about our placements, our positions here, and make sure that no one in our infantry, no single unit is going to be fighting alone. Like this lone Desaniki here ideally should be retreating right now so that I can have all of my weapon systems to bear on a single target. The enemy has brought up double ATGM strikers here. A bit of an odd choice, I think, but the ATGM strikers does come equipped with anti-infantry rockets or missiles, so those are going to be something that we're going to have to watch out for. But the ATGM does manage to spot and engage and successfully takes out one of the strikers there, so it's going to be quickly eliminating that one, leaving our enemy here one less striker to worry about. And here's what I mean. I want to have all of my infantry to be engaging or putting all of the weapons at the same time towards one target. We're gonna have one of the second fight to defending the enemy push against the Charlie sector. Here, my infantry is gonna push up and try to engage the enemy team here. Okamachiki with his RPO thermobaric launcher is going to be launching its rockets into the airborne squad. Thessaloniki and VDV Spetsnaz struggle to hold their ground. BMP-3 does provide a lot of damage support, but suffers quite a significant damage here. My Igla now proving its value is going to be deterring the enemy Comanche here. The Comanche belongs to the orange player, which we will soon come into contact with in the later stages as well. So very quickly, we've won out against that engagement. You can see how effective you can be when you have your units work together. But our units are severely damaged right now, with one of the supply dumps completely drained from the previous engagement. So the KaMAz is going to be quickly putting more supplies to the front line as well. Right now, with my units heavily damaged, I'm going to be loading them into the BMP, but a cheeky enemy Thunderbolt strikes my BMP and takes that out. So both of my infantry, the VDV Spetsnaz as well as the Okamachiki, is going to have to make a run for it on foot away from the front lines. The BMPs here on this deck has been a wonder to use. The IFVs are able to ferry units as well as provide a massive fire equalizer to the enemy team. Is certainly a unit that you want to be using in most of your games. As you can see, this BMP-3 from a long range able to strike accurately at the enemy mech engineers team here. So this BMP is going to be diving into the forest here. Intentionally, I want to be capturing or chasing any wounded units that I might find. Teammates long range, I believe that's a Panzer, able to take out the Apache longbow belonging to the Peach player. As my units now in a position, gonna be loading into the Rakusha. Just brought in fresh infantry. The Rakusha is gonna be bringing them back to the supply dump. Igla striking from a long distance is gonna take down the enemy Osprey, as we are now solid and fully secured in the center here for the Charlie sector. As you can see, the Duplo is bringing in 12,000 kilograms of supplies. It's already quickly drained by the KaMAz ferrying them up to the front lines. My Ratusha still hasn't moved, and now I've spotted that one, but my Tunguska getting taken out by the enemy seed, and that's going to be a big issue for me in the future, because the Tunguska is supposed to cover my air, and particularly against enemy drones. I was wondering why the supply dump wasn't being captured by my BMP, and I thought it was bugged at first, but only then did I realize that there could be enemy infantry trying to take some supplies and heal up in that dump here. I'm unsure whether my units being in that supply dump is going to prevent them from being resupplied by that dump itself. Nevertheless, ATGM is going to be engaging the M10 Booker here from a long range. The Factoria MTGM is a useful, very effective unit. It does fire double missiles there, so it's going to be able to take out the APS and then follow up with another strike. BMP-3 does find the second pack missile there, taking it out, as well as the striker SHORAD there. So two very crucial pieces here getting taken out. My ATGM squad gets taken out by a massive ballistic missiles here, as we now spot the first signs of trouble. That's gonna be the title of this video here. Nevertheless, Batist squad does find the enemy Stinger team. It's gonna be engaging that, as well as the Okamachiki squad bringing its thermobaric launchers on target. As you can see now, the enemy is bringing in ballistic missiles, and the drones flying overhead is going to be the main threat for me now. Without my Tunguska or any long-range AA capable of taking these drones out, the enemy player is gonna quickly spot all of my units out in the open here, and it's gonna be launching a lot of ballistic missiles my way. So throughout the entire game, I've been having to deal with these constant artillery strikers. Right now, one of the artillery does manage to take out the supply dump, as more and more artillery or ballistic missiles now are landing and hitting crucial targets. You can notice that my supply dumps are getting taken out very quickly now. That's going to be a problem for me because I need supplies to make sure that my units are in health, in good health, rearmed to fight, to stay active in the combat here. It was a bit of a stressful time really when it comes to fighting this this game here. You can see how frantic I would be later in the stages, in the later stages of this game. But because of the map, as you can see the Peach player's Global Hawk just flying overhead, it's going to be spotting a lot of my supply dumps out in the open. As this enemy SHORAD here has pushed us out too quickly, and it's going to be ambushed by my infantry that are already in position. These infantry is lucky to find a healthy supply dump here, so it's going to quickly take whatever supplies they can get and rearm. The KaMAz now, which were already working overtime, is going to have to put in extra work to make sure that my front lines gets the supplies they need, and in order to stay in the fight as long as they can. Constantly, you can see the new supply dump that was just brought in getting destroyed, and throughout the entire match, the enemy drones has been spotting my supply dumps, so making it very difficult. I did bring in triple Akatsaya here in order to do some kind of a counter batteries here, but briefly our infantry managed to spot some units firing from the tree lines here against my teammates T-90. So I'm gonna be pushing in my units here. As you can see, we're in a perfect position right now to encapsulate and surround the orange player on the left. Heavy SEP-V3 here is gonna be pushing down Thessaloniki as well as the BMP-3 moving to engage. Its constant artillery strike goes everywhere right now. Peach player gearing up to assault our position on Charlie as well. As we have a lot of things happening at the same time. Thessaloniki now gonna be engaging the Green Berets. The Green Berets has the incendiary launcher, so very effective against infantry, but against BMPs, not very much. So the BMP is gonna quickly take that out. My units now recharged and loaded back into the Rokusha is gonna be pushing up in the front lines as the Peach player now makes a daring push deep into the Charlie sector, hoping to assault my infantry in a very close range, putting ATGMs into the high rises once again. Thessaloniki is gonna try to escape, launching a cheeky RPG against the SEP-V3 before loading back into the BMP and escaping. BMP-3 here is going to be providing support as the Peach player is bringing in multiple strikers loaded with infantry and engage our positions here. At the same time, orange player now pushing in with their M113s loaded with a lot of infantry to engage us in our positions. So quickly we're being pushed by 2 enemy players here, and in fact we're being pushed by 3 enemy players here. The one's hidden is the one that's constantly firing the artillery barrage. If you notice so far, we haven't been bumping into the purple player, and that's because the purple player has been solely dedicated to playing support role. So all of these artilleries and ballistic missiles that has been launching at our way here, it's all thanks to one single player, the purple player here. So at this current moment, we're heavily damaged. Our units are quickly losing the fights. We're trying to score as much win as we can. Constant ballistic strikes and artillery is really hampering our progress, and because we don't have a forest where we can easily hide our assets or our supplies, it was extremely exposed out in the open, and heavily thanks to the enemy drones that's flying overhead constantly. Units are extremely exposed once again, so we're gonna have to move constantly and make sure that we keep our units on the move at all times. triple T-72BAs have been brought up to the front lines here. I figured I need some tanks here to engage the enemy from a longer range, but with my units, with my infantry all pushed out from the Charlie sector here, we're at the risk of losing the midpoint here. I really need to put some infantry back into the midpoint here to stabilize the front. Otherwise, the enemy team will now have a gap within our lines to push through and engage our backlines assets here. So it's really on me right now to make sure that I secure the front lines, recapture our positions, and have a solid hold. But under the constant suppression of the enemy artillery, as well as you can see the purple player now bringing his drone up, it's definitely making this a very difficult moment for me to hold on or maintain any cohesive defense of the front lines of the sector here. With my units severely battered, I'm gonna make a full retreat, a hasty retreat towards the secondary defensive lines where my supply dumps is right now. Strela is gonna be engaging the Hellfire drone here, but it's going to be taken out by the enemy Apaches. As you can see, ballistics and artillery constantly striking my tanks where they were. S-300 is being brought up right now to deal with the pervasive enemy drones that have been spotting our units here. And I realized this too late into the game, I think. Well, not too late, I think, but I realized this much. I should have realized this much sooner than what I have. That the main reason why the enemy artillery and ballistic missiles are so accurate is because of the drones that has been using to spot my units. So right now the biggest threat to me is the enemy drones flying overhead. So you notice we've been completely pushed out of the center point here. Our forces has been quickly eliminated, so we're gonna be relying on fresh reinforcements, trying to push my motor Strelke into the tree line here to secure a foothold as my BMP does the same. Hopefully I'm gonna push my BMP to the left side here to support my teammate in green here who's fighting out against the ranger squads, and the BMP does provide accurate autocannon fire against those infantry units. You'll notice that this supply dump in the center here, so I hadn't realized this I only realized this after the game, after reviewing this game footage here, that the supply dump is actually destroyed and the enemy has been constantly trying to strike it down, but no explosions has been recorded. So I think this is a bit of a bug here, that the supply dump was confirmed detonated but somehow respawned back in place and is suddenly made invulnerable. So it's kinda lucky from my side, but it's definitely gonna be a bug that I will be reporting to the devs here. But constantly having your supply dumps getting destroyed by the enemy artillery and ballistic missiles is gonna be a very dangerous, puts me in a very dangerous position. So Motor Strelke now is going to be pushing into the left side of the town here, going to be engaging a Delta team and a lot of enemy units here belonging to the orange player. My supporting assets and vehicles on the back here doing as much as they can, but I realized that this is the perfect opportunity for me to use the Su-34. The Su-34, I've equipped it this time with 4 500 kilograms laser guided bombs as well as 2 seed missiles to better protect itself from the enemy sand batteries. So here comes the Su-34 in very quickly to drop off its payload, missing the Delta Force, but does strike, managed to kill some of the enemy infantry here. So struggling to hold the ground on the left side here, as the orange player now has double heavy tanks against our own. Our BMP-3s as well as the T-72BA is gonna have to play very defensively. I also realized I cannot stay too long in one single position because the constant threat of artillery as well as ballistic missiles here. So after the engagement, I'm gonna quickly move them back into a position where they can get resupplied and get their health back up. Desaniki pushing into Charlie does start to secure the sector for our team here. That tells me that there are no present enemy units currently within the circle. Double KaMAz now is going to be brought up along with a lot of infantry as the orange player is trying to seek vengeance for his tank. It's going to be sacrificing both Comanches. At close range, the IFVs, the BMP-3 as well as the BRM-1 does take it out very quickly. So it's going to be eviscerating the helicopter at close range. Once again, the enemy drones are flying overhead, so it's going to be a constant reminder that the enemy has a watchful eye over our sectors here. Peach player has a lot of infantry just outside of the Charlie sector here. Once again, I'm going to be bringing in my Su-34 to bomb these buildings here. My units are now in position to try and hold this sector, and we're going to be in for a very close range, intense infantry engagement. My Su-34 unfortunately gets taken out before it can drop its bombs. This Su-35 has been brought up to essentially take out the enemy drone threats that have been hanging around. So right now Peach redoubling its effort into engaging the center position here. And yeah, it's just it's a big brawl with tank support in close range. It's a lot of intensive moments here for me in this game. So far throughout the game, our teammates on the left here, the lime green as well as the dark green, has been doing exceptionally well at holding their position. They're getting pushed back because they were, I believe there were 3 enemy players contending against the 2 of them. So on the teammates on the right, however, it's a little bit more passive than I would like them to be, but after I realized that they were actually newer players, so maybe they did really know how to play the game so much. So no faults there. We've all started out somewhere. My only wish is that I could have communicated better with my teammate on the right here, because if my teammate pushed his forces into Gamma, which he will do eventually, it would have relieved a lot of pressure on my forces here, so I could capitalize on that and push through the front lines. But nevertheless, it really falls on me right now to hold the front line, especially the center here, which makes for a very good, intense game so far. So KaMAz once again is going to be shipping all these supplies to the front line as best as you can. You can see constantly. So I noticed that a couple of the enemy infantry was pulling back, so not sensing that it might be a trap, I decided to push my vehicles out to capture or quickly eliminate those infantry, not knowing that the Peach player actually has a lot of infantry behind the buildings here, so my tanks here are quickly caught in the trap. And we made a mistake, and we're gonna be paying dearly for that. So all of my units that were holding the Charlie sector here gets taken out very quickly. My KaMAz now, unfortunately, getting spotted by the enemy Kiowa. It's just quickly diving in, the Hellfire quickly targeting my KaMAz and eliminating it. So once again, you can see that I have lost the center completely. All of my forces were destroyed, and I'm in a bit of a pickle right now because it's a very dangerous position I'm in. I need to quickly secure my previous positions and stabilize the front. Constantly, that was a bit of an overkill, I think, so you notice that I did bring back out a Tunguska finally. The Tunguska is going to be my savior of the game. The Tunguska only has one job, and I don't care about aircrafts. I only want it to destroy the enemy drones that are flying about, specifically the purple players' drones, so that I can be safe of the enemy artillery. I noticed that the enemy Iron Thunders has been continuously firing at our positions here, so I've opted to bring in a cheeky Alligator here in order to see if I can take advantage of the fact that the enemy might not have any AA protecting the Iron Thunders, and hopefully I can swing it around and destroy the enemy Iron Thunder. You can see the Ka-52 Alligator here. It's going to be bringing out, I'm going to be queuing it up at a very wide swing here to the right side of the map over the ocean. And you can can see Tunguska now proving its value, already taking down a second enemy drone. Gonna be quickly moving that Tunguska away because the Tunguska is the primary savior right now, making sure my units remain safe. A massive amphibious assault here, finally by my teammate in the lime green here. Sorry, neon green here. But if you think about it, like, if the enemy decides to launch a ballistic missile at that group, it's certainly going to destroy every single thing that he has right now. So I'm hoping that my teammate gets through safely and grabs a foothold over Gamma sector right now. Ka-52 still traveling in a wide arc to push itself into position to engage those Iron Thunders. My Tunguska tries to take a few missiles against the enemy Kiowa. Fires its last missiles towards the enemy drone, a more important target, and the enemy Kiowa does get away. But here we go, guys. The Ka-52 is quickly moving into position. The reason why I want to bring it out so wide is because I'm uncertain whether the enemy might have Stinger units or any AA pieces guarding the Iron Thunder. In my case here, the enemy was overconfident at its own position, so it does not have any AA units protecting these artillery pieces. So my Ka-52 is going to be launching its long-range Akasaya Vikir missiles into the Iron Thunder, quickly silencing that artillery piece that's been constantly firing at us for the past 20 minutes or so. Also secures a few cheeky kills. Another enemy drone goes down, and the Silent Hawk gets taken out as well. I'm grateful to be recognized by my teammate here, and certainly the Iron Thunder has been causing as much of a problem to me as it has to my teammate. My infantry once again renews its assault into the Charlie sector, and this time we're going to be facing again against the Peach player's infantry. I notice now that the enemy's infantry is actually much stronger than my own. Even with all the different types of weapons that I might have, I am unable to really punish the enemy infantry at range. So this was quite a revelation to me that my infantry is not as strong as I'd like them to be, or for the first time it's been coming up against a much stronger opponent than they have. So realizing or recognizing that my squads here are not able to win the fight, I've decided to pull them back and get them back to the safety for now. At this point in time, I've realized that I need to come up with a different game plan in order to approach and contend against the Charlie sector here. So something I've decided to do is to, because I have the points to spare, I'm going to be bringing in a lot of infantry as well as the Oknamachiki squads. It's going to be crucial in launching their thermobaric rockets into the enemy infantry. You noticed previously I did bring up triple Akasayas here. The Akasayas, I'm gonna be mainly using them as a smoke provider here. So I'm gonna be using smoke to cover my approaching forces and try to isolate any potential infantry that might be approaching the Charlie sector. Once again, we're in a very dangerous position as the center now is completely unprotected. So really it's on me right now to make sure that I stabilize the front as quickly as possible. You notice now, because of my Tunguska effectively destroying the enemy drones, the enemy isn't launching as much ballistic missiles as they were before. And destroying the purple player's Iron Thunder does silence the battlefield a little bit further as well. So Akasaya is going to be doing an initial bombardment over the sectors here. The idea is to sort of weaken the enemy infantry or cause them to pull back or move position a little bit before smoking what I suspect the enemy positions might be. I'm deliberately smoking the enemy's position, and that's how generally you want to be using smokes. You don't want to be smoking your units, you want to smoking theirs. This will cover the vision, which allows your infantry to have a wider field for them to engage any targets that they might come across with. With the smoke now in progress, I'm going to be pushing my BMPs and KaMAz quickly into positions right now. Akasaya is going to be quickly moved away from its firing position because the enemy is definitely watching, and it's going to be sending a ballistic missile or artillery towards my way. Infantry being dropped off as the KaMAz now goes back to the supply dump to ferry more supplies in. You can see how effective the Okonochiki is against a weaker squads like this. Double enemy Kiowa is going to be pushing, making the mistake of pushing across the smoke, where my BMP now have line of sight, and the autocannons of the BMP is going to quickly take one of the Kiowa out. Tunguska does manage to find a line of sight here, and it's going to be quickly taking the other one out. Artillery constantly firing at the back lines here as the as now I've brought in a double Metis squad occupying the high rises there. The Metis with the Dushka machine gun is going to be providing massive fire support for my forward infantry to engage the enemy on. You can see how the smoke covered one of the Mech engineer squad, and I was able to really isolate the enemy infantry and really focus all of my firepower into specific squads. With this smoke causing a lot of the confusion, I've opted to push my BMP out very quickly into one of the forest line. The BMP does take one of the hellfire from the drones above. My Tunguska is going to be in position to take out that enemy drone very quickly as well. BMP pushing deeply is going to find a isolated TOW 2A. TOW 2A needs a minimum distance to engage properly. At this range, the BMP is going to quickly eat that TOW squad. So we've definitely secured the center right now. My units are battered, but they're still alive. All I have to do right now is pull them back, make sure that they get resupplied in any supply dump available. Any of the healthier squads, I'm gonna push them up and make sure that they are in a better position to cover the main roads approaching the center point here. Tunguska hero of a unit is still gonna be around to cover the skies and again doing its job and defending the skies against the enemy drones. One of the Peach players, M10 Booker, is going to be finding my BMP-3. The BMP-3 is going to be taking rear shot, so I'm going to be moving it very quickly down the road. At this point, the lifespan of the BMP-3 is it's going to be a few seconds left, so I've decided to see if I can push it as deep as I can to see if I get lucky in finding any enemy assets in the back lines here. Unfortunately, the Thunderbolts catches up and eliminates my BMP-3. Supplies have been brought up, and I need to move my KaMAz very quickly as my BMPs now get into position to drop off the infantry and heal up using the supplies. However, the drone is still up around on the right side here. Once again, the Tunguska, very useful at doing its job, taking out that enemy drone, denying the enemy vision, and securing more time for us. Fresh T-72BA is now joining the front lines as once again the ballistic missiles now come and threaten our positions. Constantly I have to keep my units on the move so that they don't stay too comfortable in one position. You see artillery striking one of the supply dumps there. Does take it out, and I'm gonna have to move my infantry back into the transport and quickly move back to another secure supply dump. You can see my teammate now pinging what appears to be a hidden unit now, spotting all this. And that's the whole reason why our supply tank got destroyed, because it was spotted by some hidden units in the tree line. But with my teammate on the right here fully securing and hunkered down in Gamma Point, this leaves the Peach player having 2 places to engage. My unit's now in a perfect position to catch the Peach player's units off guard. Both the Metis as well as the Conquer's team able to launch multiple rockets, as well as the Alligator really punishing the enemy's approach into Gamma. I suspect they were coming towards my point, but because of the number of missiles launched that way, they've decided to divert their position into Gamma instead. So another successful deflection from the center. Really thankful for the Alligator to be in a position where they can offer the long-range Valkyrie missiles against target here. You can see all of the enemy artillery now is focused on my position once again, deeming me the most threatening player on the enemy side. So gonna be moving my units all across, loading my Desanikis to push them up further into the front lines. The T-72 is gonna be pushing into the left side here. Ballistic Missiles destroying my Rozvedka team, where my T-72 used to be. These two double T-72 is gonna push in, see if they can catch the enemy artillery that's hidden in the tree line right now. So hopefully I can reach them in time to really punish the enemy for trying to bombard me with the artillery. So far, with the drone problem solved, and my teammate now putting his weight on to Gamma, I'm free now to push my units into the forest area here, further pushing our front lines ahead and securing better positions, this time with cover on our side. You can see that's how you want to be using your units. When you can, you want to push through, break through the enemy lines and secure better positions for yourself. BMPs with the Okmachiki squad to contest against any infantry or units that might be in the tree lines here. As I struggle to put all my infantry now up closer to the front lines. You can see the T-72 now successfully catching the enemy paladins belonging to the orange player. Is going to be quickly taking care of those expensive units. After offloading the Okmachiki, the BMP is going to push out to the edge of the tree line there to cover the roads, as this T-72 secures the delta point for me. Excuse me. So far, teammate on the left here, the dark green, has been trying to secure Bravo, and I do have a tank to spare, so I'm going to be pushing my tank over to the left side here to see if I can support my teammate's push. Gonna be using the sole remaining Akatsaya to provide some kind of a smoke cover for my tank there. I do manage to spot some SAM batteries that are firing its missiles, so I'm pushing my T-72 out. This BMP-3 is in a perfect position to catch some of these Peach players' tanks off guard. It's by Desaniki now trying to push into a position where they can also ambush the approaching units. Enemy DAP is now moving into position to really take care of my tank here, and when the helicopters came, then only I realized that, oh shoot, I forgot about my AA piece here. So we're gonna quickly push my Tunguska out. My Tunguska does take out both of the enemy seaplanes that belong to the Marine Division here, the Prowlers, as unfortunately failing to connect any of its missiles against the enemy DAP. So the enemy DAP is going to take out my Tunguska, which leaves me once again at a very vulnerable position. But with 2 minutes left on the clock, we're going to see if we can maintain any of the positions that we have and hopefully win the game at the final minutes here. In terms of score, we're pretty neck to neck right now, but we are in a conquest point lead as well as the kill point lead. So as long as you maintain this lead right now, we're in a healthy position to win. ATGM teams now moving into position where they can watch the road and cover Gamma. As on the left side here, you see the enemy DAPs making a hovering between these tree lines here. It's gonna be facing my BMP-3. My BMP-3 up close. It's gonna be engaging the enemy helicopters immediately. BMPs, when used correctly, one of the deadliest units in the game. They're cheap, they're effective, and something that you should definitely consider using in your deck next time. Factoria is going to be taken down to a very low health, so I'm going to be retreating that very quickly. And you can see how I've spread out my units to make sure that I cover the entire tree line. So this whole section of the area here is under my control right now. 45 seconds left on the clock, and we are in a position to win this game. We're losing the Bravo point, and hopefully my teammate's going to be capturing that very soon. Thessaloniki isolating this heavy tank here. It's going to take that out. As the Ognomachiki squad does manage to spot the enemy tow team, it's going to be engaging that. In hindsight, I should have pushed my BMP out into those tree lines there to capture or engage the enemy's enemy ballistic missile launches there. Unfortunately, time is running out, and we're not going to be catching them in time. And that's the end of it. It was such a fantastic fight. We've ended up with a 10,900 points in kills, 6,795 deaths, healthy ratio 1.60, and we've done a solid job. So if you've enjoyed that match, do let me know in the comments below. Once again, thank you for watching. See you in the next one, guys.